Hello, everyone. Welcome to AI4. We're so excited to have you here. And today we have a tremendous fireside chat that is going to be occurring between myself, Daniel Lackland, and Dr. Frances Boykin, who is a director of advanced analytics. And we are so happy to have her here from AT&T. Welcome, Frances.
Thank you. It's so exciting to be here. I think this is my second year with AI4, so really happy to be here, and hopefully I can impart some great wisdom and we can have a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. Of course, we had to have you back. We actually can't do this event without you, Frances. It's impossible. All right, we're so happy to have you. So it's going to be a 25-minute fireside chat. Rachel, if you would go ahead and show the first question, we will go ahead and jump right into it. All right, so Frances, what is your role all about at AT&T?
So I've been at AT&T now for 17 years, and this year I've moved into actually a new role for me, which is Director of Advanced Analytics. And it's an awesome role for me because it allows me to bring together not just my analytics skills, including, Python and some of the R work that I've done in the past, but it also allows me to bring some of my data engineering skills into how we can actually leverage our data that we get day to day at AT&T for some of that advanced level analytics and customer experience knowledge. So it's a great opportunity for me. We're doing a lot of great work around looking at customers, seeing who those customers are, what they like, and how we can service them better. And so this role is awesome.
Yeah, that's super exciting. And so you mentioned you've been at AT&T for a long time. I mean, you must have a really cool perspective on how the organization has changed, specifically as it relates to how they use this huge amount of data that they have. I guess what perspective can you share about the way that it has changed over time in terms of its usage of data?
Oh, yes. Being at AT&T for a very long time, or 17 years, I don't know if that's a very long time, but it's a great amount of time to get a perspective of from where we started to where we are today. And the really cool thing is that I started out in database marketing. So I started out in data. I came into database marketing with Legacy Singular. As you know, Singular merged with AT&T and we all became one great happy family. But at Legacy Singular, I had an opportunity to be on a team that engineered and instituted the first opportunity to use data within Singular at that time. So we built out the databases. We started out with literally Microsoft Access databases. And then we built that out using Teradata. We brought in Vertica. We brought in Aster. So lots of opportunity there to learn and grow. And that transformation happened over probably about 7 or 8 years. So we started out with the Microsoft Access databases and Excel, and then we grew it to where it is today. Now, I will say this, AT&T made a concerted effort to become what we call data powered. And I know we'll have some other opportunities for me to talk about becoming data powered further in this chat. But the great thing about becoming data powered is that we put a focus on data and how we use it day to day.
Yeah, thank you for that perspective. Really exciting to hear about these changes. So you mentioned you were using these tools that now seem ancient to us with the database thing, your experience starting out in that way. What are you now thinking about using tools and processes when it comes to your data engineering function as you go about using data across the organization?
Well, of course, we all have to go cloud-based, right? So we're all moving to the cloud, Snowflake, Databricks. We've even talked a little bit with Teradata about Teradata Vantage. So everything is going cloud-based. And AT&T, of course, like everyone else, is making that push. I think sometimes we may be a little risk averse at AT&T, which doesn't really bother me that much. That gives us an opportunity to leverage not just the newer technologies, but the learnings from other organizations as well as they stand up these new tools. So Databricks, Snowflake, we're all about that right now.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. And how do you collect this information? What type of information is it exactly that you're working on?
Yeah, so for AT&T, of course, we're a telecommunications industry. We collect data from our clients, whether that's the folks that use their cell phones, internet service. As you know, we had Warner Media as part of our family. So there was of course, the data involved in our telephone, our television and internet services. So movie services, all of that produces data. So I tell folks a lot of time, especially in my workshops, everything we do today creates data. And that's not different from in the past, except for the tools now that we have available to us to harvest that data and use that data for insights. And that's what it's all about. Looking at the data that our customers create, whether that's internal or external customers, and then being able to provide benefits from looking at the insights of that data to be able to service our customers even better. My specific role is about providing customer experience data. So providing the data around our customers' journey through using AT&T's products and services.
Cool, very exciting. Yeah, thank you so much for that perspective. Would you like Rachel to jump to the next question? I think we can dive in. All right, here we go. Okay, so, and I think it's an important question also at some point to talk about how you think about AI versus any other advanced analytics function. But the question is, how is AI leveraged at AT&T? Examples, please. What are you specifically think about? Take it any way you like.
Sure. So AI is a great opportunity to take the plethora of data that any organization has and then use that to look forward so that they can help their customers. At AT&T, of course, we're looking at AI opportunities, whether that's AI at our warehouses and helping us better position our products and services in the right places at the right time. That's not new, right? Right place, right time is not new. But how we do that today, how we use machine learning and artificial intelligence algorithms so that we can pull together the information and crunch that data so that we can then provide insights on the best choices to make for our customers, whether that's our internal clients where we make sure that we have the right products in the right stores in the right place, or we use our AI in the form of chat bots and our opportunity online to have it so that customers can interact with us in an AI fashion so that we can answer questions, provide observations, direct them in the right place for the products and services and that they're interested in.
Yeah.
So lots of good things there. In our retail centers, again, looking at products and services and where they are and where they must benefit, but also I think not just AT&T, but other telecom industries, telecom organizations are looking at AI, especially around network, right? So network is a great place to use AI to help understand where to place the towers to ensure that we're servicing the right customers. So lots of opportunity there.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. So I know you mentioned that you are specifically focusing right now on the customer experience journey. I'm sure there's a lot to that. How could you talk a little bit more about how AI is leveraged specifically in the customer experience area, and also how your role specifically is helping to enable some of those advanced algorithms?
Sure. So for customer experience, understanding where there is that demarcation line from this is a customer who's very happy to this is a customer who's not very happy, and what that actually means for AT&T or any organizations. I won't even just say AT&T. Any organization is going to want to know, okay, here are my happy customers, here are my customers who are not so happy, and what does that mean for us as an organization and acquiring and maintaining these customers. So in customer experience, we definitely want to use AI to help us predict where those customers are, who those customers are, where they reside, what can we now do to keep those customers at AT&T. So looking at that journey data and then feeding that journey data into models so that we can then make predictions about who our customers are and where they are in their customer journey. Because one thing we don't want, right, is to get to the end of the journey. we'd love our customers to journey and journey and journey. We don't want them to get to the end of their journey, because then that's all churn. So that's what we don't want. So a lot of our work is specifically around how do we predict when this customer is at a point in the life cycle where they may leave us, and how do we make sure that we get ahead of that?
I see. Really cool to hear about. And so when you're thinking about, okay, where is this customer in their specific journey, and what personalized product or what personalized attention can I offer them to make sure that the right customer, is the churn is avoided? How do you actually enable that? I mean, I know you're thinking about making this, improving upon this, and moving these initiatives forward. What are we actually doing right now to make that happen for someone in the audience maybe who is, thinking about approaching a similar project?
So if you're looking into projects like this, one of the things that we have seen be beneficial is creating what we call transformation projects. So a lot of this information is fed into transformation projects, and those projects are specific. For example, customer service. What are the pain points? What are we looking at as far as the customer journey and the pain points for those customers in their journey that involves customer service? So how can we make changes there? We can also make changes based on this journey information in network. So network, customer service, those are key places that you'd want to make changes if you needed to make changes. But some of the things that you can also do is, besides just looking at pain points, look at what we call the happy path. Look at what's making customers happy, and then make changes to ensure that you add more happy, right? So it's not just about looking at the stuff that bothers people. And we all know, whether you're at AT&T or any other company, friction, which is customers not being able to smoothly get what they want, is an issue. And the goal is to create a happy path so that has less friction, right? And so a lot of the work that we do is around creating that happy path and eliminating as much friction as we can by looking at the pain points. And of course, the machine learning work, the analytics work that we do is all about determining what is that place, what is that number place in the life cycle where the customer hits the friction that's going to make them make a decision that's not, in AT&T's best interest in keeping them as a customer. And honestly, not in their best interest in getting what they want, right? Because as customers, we just want what we want, right? All of the ins and outs of that happening, I'm not so sure that we are all that interested in. We want what we want, and then the organization's goal is to make that possible as easy as they can. So that's pretty much what we do.
Gotcha. Yeah, very neat to hear. And then, from a project planning perspective, to talk about, these projects that you're working on, I guess I'm curious, and I'm sure some of the audience is curious as well. How much does an initiative like this cost? And who are the people who need to be involved to do the work? And then also, are you building all these tools in-house, or you're going out and you're finding partners to work with? How do you think about all this sort of higher level structure to put in place around an initiative like this?
Really good questions. And it's honestly all of the above, right? Depending on where you're focusing the work at, you'll make different choices. So we may go out and partner with some organizations. We may go out and we'll work internally with our technology teams to build out tools to help us. I would think there's a kind of a balance there with tools that we go outside the organization and bring in, and tools that we use, that we build in-house. And as far as the cost, there are some small projects, because you're always going to want to focus on some low-hanging fruit. And there's always that matrix, right? The amount of money, amount of time, amount of benefit you're going to get out of whatever initiative you're presented with. So we want to get the most bang for our buck. Some of those projects can be, very low in cost, all the way into the millions and millions. Some of those projects will go up into 5 million, 10 million and above. I think I heard a friend mention a project that they're working on, and I think they got their first estimate, and it was somewhere around $17 million was their first estimate. There are even bigger projects around analytics that cost many more millions than that. And in some cases, we will do hybrids there as well. We'll have an internal team that may build out a portion of the project, and then an external team to bring in a tool to layer on top of that. And we do a lot of that at AT&T, and that's layering. So that we have some great teams. For example, my team includes not only data engineers, but also analysts as well, and advanced analytics skill sets. So we do a little bit of that. So our mini projects or projects that are in a few $1 million, we may do that internally. But then we have some bigger projects that we may bring in other folks to help us out with and partner with.
Thank you for that perspective. Why don't we jump to the next question? This is really some interesting stuff here. Okay, so what challenges do you encounter when trying to leverage AI within telecom? You can also, of course, talk about when doing the data engineering portions that, of course, enable AI. Feel free to spin it however you want.
So challenges, oh my. So we definitely hit challenges. Some of those challenges include, challenges are always going to be time. It's going to be about resources, right? Time, people, and money. So those are going to be the big categories of challenges. Time in that we're in the telecom industry. We need to move fast, but not just because we're in telecom, but because tool sets change, needs change, consumers' behavior changes. So yes, time is of the essence. So that's a challenge for us. The other challenge is people. As you know, a lot of these tools are not that old. And we have folks that, a challenge sometimes in getting folks that can come on board up to speed on the tools and the techniques. And that definitely can be a challenge. Data science is one of the best places to be right now. There are opportunities there, many people and organizations looking to bring on people with those skill sets. So I know from my challenges in bringing on people with the right skill set that is definitely an issue. And if you're interested in that area, dive in because it's a great area to be in. And so it's what I said, time, and then people, and then money. Some of those projects can run into the millions and millions. And of course, as in any other organization, AT&T has a sliding scale on where they're going to spend their money. So that strategic goal is going to be of utmost importance. And then we'll decide on which projects fit within those guidelines. And those are the projects that are going to get the money.
Yeah, really cool to hear about. Let me ask you a question also. Speaking of financials, do you find it hard to quantify the benefits associated with leveraging data science for a customer experience related project, or it's actually easier than I might expect? I guess, what are your thoughts on that?
So I would say when I first came into customer experience, I started out in database marketing. So I was in marketing for many, many years. And then I went to global supply chain. I stayed in global supply chain for 3 years. And one of the great things about going over to global supply chain is that was the first time I had to prove the benefit of what we were doing. So in marketing, I always felt like we just had money. I don't know where this money came from. I was just happy that it was there. And we would, because we generated money, we offset the cost of the projects that we did. So we didn't worry about it. We were like, we're going to do this and we're going to make some money and it's all going to work out. Well, when I moved over to global supply chain, which is not a revenue generating organization, I had to learn to prove out the benefit of AI projects. In a place where I always say global supply chain is like Missouri, the show me state. You've got to show me in global supply chain. They're not about just handing out money. So I learned there how to really build out a business case for what I wanted to do, and also how to decide on, hey, how do I show the monetary benefit of this project? I had a really tough taskmaster who taught me how to do that. But when I moved over to customer experience, because I had that background, I was able to leverage that background. And what we look at are things, for example, calls. We know how much it costs for a customer to call in. And if a customer has to call in 5 times, we can multiply that out. We can then turn around and say, if I get rid of those 5 times that customer called, which let's just say, make it simple math, it's $5 per call. So if it's $5 per call and that customer calls 5 times a month over the course of a 12-month period, you can easily multiply that out. If I do this project that's going to limit and provide a benefit to our customers so they won't have to call in anymore, that's how much money you're saving the organization. And multiply that out by all the customers who are calling. And so that's how I was able to provide those revenue benefits.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was really interesting to hear. Rachel, let's jump ahead to the third question, I think. Is that the third question? I don't know where I am. Okay, great. What do you expect moving forward when it comes to telecom and AI? A question about the future.
Yes. So what do we expect? Bigger and better, right? It's just going to get bigger from here. Now that we're moving into the cloud, and many of our organizational partners are moving into the cloud, it's just going to get bigger and better. We're going to start using AI a lot more. I'm already seeing it in our model development. We're going to have more models that are going to be leveraged for not just customer experience, but all avenues of pushing out products and services to our customers. I didn't even talk about how we would want to use and leverage AI in marketing and advertising, making sure that we look at what our customers are doing and then being able to say, hey, our customers that fit into this category are interested in XYZ, and we want to be able to dynamically provide them information about the new opportunities for those particular items, those sorts of things. So we're going to be pulling in AI much more, and I've actually seen that at AT&T, because CDO, which is our Chief Data Office at AT&T, has actually just in the last maybe 4 months started seeking me out for more data to help them build more models, and that's like fantastic. When we can bring the data makers, which is the business, the data makers, we make the data along with the people who use the data and analyze that data together, especially from a technology perspective, then we're winning.
Wow, really cool to hear. I guess the final question, I think we have just a couple minutes left. Insofar as you can say, I know you can't say everything and everything, but what are your specific goals over the next year? I know you're in this new exciting role, and it's kind of a really cool time. You're talking about getting new customers in terms of like the CDO office. What are you going to be thinking about over the next year?
Actually, I have a pretty good idea of what I want to push. I'm one of those people who creates a mantra, and I have done it, I don't know, all my life, but the mantra that I've created for 2021 was deliver, serve, teach, and learn. And under those 4 pillars, those are the things that I want to focus on for 2021. I want to deliver more data. I want to serve more customers by providing that data in a way that easily allows them to build out insights. I want to teach more people, more customers, internal and external clients, on how to use what we have available to us in the environments that we have. And then I want my organization to learn more. And that means learning more about the cloud, being able to take the newest technologies and circle that right back around to deliver. So deliver, serve, teach, and learn, and make it a circle. So focusing really on building out more, using more technologies, and making more available to our clients. That's my goal for 2021, moving into 2022.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us, Frances. It was a pleasure having you here. And I think we are just about out of time.
Oh, awesome. So just wonderful to be here. I'm so glad I was able to provide you with my little bit of insights, and hopefully it was helpful.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Rachel.